Hey, what up, guys? It's Mário Vegali here again with one more vocabulary booster lesson, today based on the text Pale Blue Dot. By the way, this text is just so incredible. I really like the Pale Blue Dot text and audio and video. It's really a good piece of text. So yeah, let's get down to business. Let's study some sentences and some words extracted, directly from Pale Blue Dot. So let me zoom in a little bit here, and let's begin. We're going to start with this. It is not a word. It is a kind of an expression. It's a vantage point. Okay, and the meaning of vantage point. It's like a strategic position. When you are in a vantage point, it means you are in a better position. Okay, so when you are in a vantage point, you are in a better position. From your point of view, from your strategic position, you can better access and better view a particular situation. It's a point where you have the advantage. Okay, it's a better point of view. We could put it that way. It's a better point of view. It's a strategic position. Okay, it's a position that gives you some sort of advantage over other people. So let's check out the example. So we have the cafe was a good vantage point for watching the world go by. So the cafe, and the cafe here, it's not coffee. Cafe, it's a place that usually sells coffee. So the cafe was a good vantage point. So was a good a good strategic position for you to watch the world go by. So it was a vantage point. The second example here is, from the vantage point of the present, the war seems to have achieved nothing. So when you look at the war, in hindsight, meaning you are in the present time. So you can, look back into the past, and you can understand the war. You can better understand the war. So you are in a better position, in a position where you can, because it's in the past, so you are in the present, so you can look back at the past. And you can, kind of analyze the war and what happened. So from this vantage point, from this strategic position, from this better position, this better point of view, because you are in the present, you can look back, into the past, and you can see that the war seemed to have achieved nothing. So from the vantage point of the present, the war seems to have achieved nothing. So because you are in the present, you are in a better position. So it's a vantage point. And here, the war, against another example using the war. So the war is described from the vantage point of those of the winning side. So here people are describing the war, but from the point of view, the viewpoint, the standpoint. There's many different ways of saying point of view. You can say point of view, you can say standpoint, you can say viewpoint, and vantage point. Vantage point, the meaning is more like a better position. It's not just a random, non-biased, point of view, but it's a point of view where you have some sort of advantage. So the war is described by the vantage, from the vantage point of those of the winning side. So if you are on the winning side of the war, you are in a better position. So if you are describing the war from this particular position, you're describing it from, the better strategic position. So it's a vantage point. The war is described from the vantage point of those of the winning side. So it's not a common term. It's not commonly used, but it's a nice one, a vantage point. Okay, vantage point. Okay, moving on, we have moat. The word moat. Moat means it's a very small quantity, like a very small piece of usually of dirt or dust. It's such a small piece of something. So examples: there's not a moat of dirt in that woman's house. So there's not a single mote of dirt. So there isn't any dirt at all. No dirt. There's not like a single speck of dirt. No dirt at all. So there's not a mote of dirt in that woman's house. So a mote would be a very, very small quantity. But she cleaned the house so well that there's nothing left. There's not a single mote of dirt. There's not a single small little piece of dirt. No dirt at all. So there's not a mote of dirt in that woman's house. He always cleans the house until there's not a mote of dust left. So here's the same, basically the same thing. So he cleans the house until there's not, any dust left. There isn't any dust left. There isn't a mote of dust. If the house is so clean that if you look for just, a small piece of dust, you're not going to find it. So there's not a mote of dust left. And here, what once was a pile of dirt turned into a few motes because of the wind. So there was a pile of dirt, so a lot of dirt, but because of the wind, now there's just a few motes. A few motes meaning a few very small pieces, just small pieces of dirt. Or here's dirt, yeah, it's dirt. So there was a pile of dirt, a lot of dirt, and now there's just a few pieces, a few, like little, very, very small spots of dirt. So just a few motes of dirt. Okay, so a mote, a very small piece of dirt or dust or any, granular, very small substance. So moving on, we have here the verb spill. Spill. So spill, the meaning is when you have for a liquid like water or milk into a container, and the liquid, it flows over the container, usually, onto the ground. When it flows over the container onto the ground, you use the verb spill. So if I spill water from, a jar or a glass, the meaning is the water flows over the edge of the glass or the edge of the jar into the ground. So I can say I spilled water. Examples here, we have water has spilled out of the bucket onto the floor. So there was a bucket, there was water, inside the bucket. So water just flowed over the edge of the bucket onto the floor. So water has spilled out of the bucket into the floor. Here, kind of the same thing. The bag split and sugar spilled everywhere. Now, it's not kind of the same thing because we're talking about sugar here. We're not talking about a liquid, but it's the same idea. The bag split, meaning the bag just tore. Okay, the bag split and sugar, literally sugar just dropped into the floor. So, and everything was, a big mess. So sugar spilled, it went, out of the bag into the floor. So the bag split, the bag tore, and sugar spilled everywhere, all over the place. And here, the last example, I managed to carry 3 full glasses